Unmute. There we go. Welcome everybody to a special episode of James and Jay Dissects The Walking Dead. Today we're going to be talking about our top 5 zombie movies of all time. So this will be fun. This is a request by some of the fans that watch us. And I know James in particular is excited talking about this as he's been kind of hounded by his friends there at work and some of our fans online as far as like what his particular order is. Before we jump into it though, let's get a couple announcements away. Our charity is still American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. If you can donate, please do. Links are down below. If you can't donate, you can still help out by liking, sharing, subscribing to our videos. And then also, we can't tell you to click on the ads directly, but we can tell you that all proceeds from those ads and the revenue does go towards charity. So do with that information as you will. Other than that, today is my mom's birthday, so make sure everyone writes on our Facebook wall wishing her a happy birthday.
Wow. My mom's birthday was the 18th, man. Another May baby, huh? Happy birthday. Yeah. Storm.
It's good, good month for moms.
There you go.
Other than that, James, how was it actually narrowing it down to only a top 5 for you?
This is... I've been looking forward to the top 5 list since we started the dissection of The Walking Dead. So Jay and I had a plan to dissect The Walking Dead, and then we said if we make it, which we knew we were, but we said on the next break, instead of just dissecting the seasons, we decided we're going to do a top 5, and we left it to the viewers to pick. And I was like a pig in shit when you guys picked the top 5 zombie movies, because that's why I'm such a big fan of zombies, obviously, and The Walking Dead. It was just like, you always dream about a never-ending zombie movie. And, just it all started for me with the black and white 1968 classic, not George Romero's Night of the Living Dead. So ever since then, it became an obsession almost. So, but narrowing it down, I think that I wrote it out at work, and with the last 2 zombie movies I actually watched, Night of the Living Dead, I watched on Netflix last night. I didn't particularly like that too much. It's like a zombie, but just to add to the list. And then a couple of last week I watched Resident Evil: The Final Chapter. I think I'm up to 175 different zombie movies watched in my entire life. So it's just like, you got to think about that. That's a staggering number. And when I got to 100. It was a lot, but people keep making it's become such a genre that independent filmmakers and even big time filmmakers, and celebrities are adding their name into the zombie genre history. And you got all sorts of zombie movies, B-rated zombie movies out there, and then The Walking Dead has made it even worse. I mean, it's just crazy. It's like it's overkill for me. So it's, I didn't think I would get. It took me a long time to get to 100 zombie films watched, but as soon as I think when The Walking Dead came out, knocked in the next 75, like it was quick, So
yeah, they've been around for a while, obviously, the zombie movies, like you mentioned, but they just didn't really hit stride or mainstream until I think The Walking Dead, where it made it pop culture. Where you can go out there and watch everything, and no one's gonna be like, "You're gonna go see a zombie movie." Weirdo. But I would never say that, obviously, 'cause I'd be there with you. But like you said, there's so many more. I mean, there's parody movies now of these.
Yeah,
it's insane.
Yes, and another thing, Jay said it. People looked at it as you're a weirdo. I got that about I'm 34, so in the 34 years I've been watching zombie movies, over 30 years now. My dad used to, like I said, I snuck and watched the 1968 version, and on a black and white TV in the mid 80s. So, you look at it, and whenever you tell people that you watch zombie movies, I got made fun of because everybody thought they were so stupid. And I used to warn people that one day the zombie movies and zombie genres were going to be so big that everybody would watch it and they would be sorry that they didn't. And that day came true when The Walking Dead came out. And it's like, you know, people almost like I'm Nostradamus making that prediction. No, I couldn't believe it when I saw the comic books. I never thought that they would actually make it into, you know, a television show. So like I said, this was fun. This was a lot of fun narrowing it down. Man, I mean, the movies on top of movies, just to get to the echelon, the mountaintop of zombie movies. And, you know, it's gonna be fun for me and Jay to share with you these top fives, man. It really is.
But before we get to that, we actually have a couple questions from some of your friends as well. So we'll tackle those real quick, and then we'll get to the top fives afterwards.
And I want everybody who sent me questions. You know, there was one about, you know, there were comments about the season 4 and season 5 reviews, and some people disagreed with the assessment of season 5 and season 4. I just want to remind you, it's subjective, and you know, if you did like season 4 better than season 5, you know, that's your opinion, you know, and you're granted to have that, and you know, we appreciate and welcome that in the comments. Let us know if you disagree with our assessments. It's always fun to, you know, to see people, you know, almost debate like, but understand it's subjective, and we respect your opinions. But this is our show, so we're gonna go by.
Yeah,
you know, I'm not gonna change my mind.
If you liked the hospital episodes, let us know why. Maybe you to teach us something. You know, hey, I never thought about it like that.
Yeah,
you
and
know, we're not gonna
I have to admit that, you know, one kind of a pessimistic Walking Dead fan. You know, he tried to convince me that season 3 might have been one of the best seasons in the show. And I asked him if he read the comic book, and he made a good point. He said, I'm judging it by the show itself, not comparison to the comic book. And I was like, even if you did judge it that way, just the governor's character should have felt incomplete to you after season 3. I mean, yeah, they killed off Lori and T-Dog and Merle, but it should have felt incomplete. And that whole storyline was just shot to shit. You could tell by the way that they mismatched it together. You know, and he had good arguments, but in the end of the day, he agreed with me. So it was almost like, you know, you step into the best when it comes to this stuff, man. You gotta have your nose ready, man. I'll pick you apart.
Yeah,
you know, like, this is what I do. You know, this is like a guilty pleasure here. So, but anyways, I had some great questions. The Walking Dead questions we're going to save for season 6. The Fear of the Walking Dead questions we're going to save for next week. So that was very, very nice of you guys to send me some Fear of the Walking Dead questions. It shows that you are interested in the dissection of Fear of the Walking Dead. That's actually coming out the Sunday after Memorial Day weekend. So stay tuned for that. So I only picked the questions that are related to these top 5 lists. We got, what is your favorite zombie? And that, if people can't figure that out, that's a zombie comedy. And there have been tons. And I just said I watched Night of the Living Dead, which is a zombie, and it's not one of the, it's in between good and bad. But Night of the Living Zeb was in there, and you know, it was a good question because, you know, you look at Warm Bodies, you look at movies like Zombieland. You look at Shaun of the Dead, which is an iconic zombie, is one of the best ever. Even you take it back to Return of the Living Dead, the first and the second Return of the Living Deads were zombies. They were actually parodies of Night of the Living Dead. The Reanimator was a zombie in its own sense. So you have, you know, so many, and they stem back from the 80s and on. But my favorite, and Jay, I'm going to let Jay chime in on this one too. My favorite of all time is the king of zombies. Is Simon Pegg's, you know, awesome Shaun of the Dead, one of the greatest zombie movies of all time. I mean, Shaun of the Dead even had George Romero himself, the king, you know, of flesh-eating zombies, said himself, this was the most complete zombie movie ever made, other than his movies. So, you know, you have every aspect of a flesh-eating zombie movie in Shaun of the Dead, and it was hilarious. I mean, you know, the British are hilarious people in general. You can't help but laugh at somebody who's from London, and you know, and I know people from London, and they're just hilarious. They can't even talk to me normally without me laughing. Just the things they say make me laugh and giggle because I'm silly, and you know. So watching this movie,
it hit on so many levels, like you said. I mean, it didn't really hit the fear factor as much as other ones, but you know,
did his job, man.
yeah,
Come
yeah. You had the conflicts, you had the personal choices. You know, you had it's all about friendship.
Yep.
You know,
You had the sad parts of the movie. It was everything you wanted in a zombie movie, and everything you wanted in a comedy, and it was a rom-com too. It was complete. It was crazy. So it's like, what?
Yeah. And I fell in love with it. I love that movie. It's like one of the. I only buy certain movies on DVDs nowadays because you can find them everywhere digitally now. And that was definitely one of the ones I picked up because I just like watching it whenever I wanted to.
That's definitely my favorite, and a close second for me would be Zombieland. Woody Harrelson. You know, just the, you know, Jesse. Wasn't Jesse Eisenberg?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you had two great characters play off of each other. You had the greatest cameo appearance of all time. Bill Murray was himself in a zombie. I mean, that movie. If people were to say to me, Zombieland was funnier than Shaun of the Dead, I could agree with that. You know, it's subjective, but that's a really good argument because Zombieland, while I still think Shaun of the Dead was funnier, Zombieland was right there. I mean, and it just showed you the zombie apocalypse through the eyes of a person with extreme OCD, an introvert, and he made up his own rules. We'll get into all that later, but Zombieland was a close second. So,
and he had
what about
Emma Stone in there too. So I mean,
Emma
she's
Stone?
big star nowadays.
Yep. And you just, it was just awesome, man, all around. Favorite foreign zombie movie was another question, and it's because I talked about Lucio Fulci. Other than George Romero, Lucio Fulci, an Italian zombie movie director and producer. Him and George Romero were such great friends that when George Romero made Dawn of the Dead, Lucio Fulci made his own, sequel to it called Zombie. And to me, Zombie, and he also made two other movies that were kind of zombie-like, but not really, City of the Living Dead. And then after that, after he made City of the Living Dead, he made Seven Doors to Die. So, you have three incredible Italian zombie movies that always will, I'll always respect Lucio Fulci for those three movies that he made. But the best one was Zombie. I mean, it was gory. I mean, they even had, I did research on it, and it's actually on a DVD extra if you ever pick it up. Like Jay said, you could find these things digitally, but you should really look into getting the DVD because you can get the extras. So Zombie told you in the beginning, it had a warning for people who went to the movie theaters to watch this movie. It warned people to, this is incredibly gory, and we will provide you barf bags in the movie theater. And unbelievable. I mean, and Lucio Fulci was a genius, and he was also, his signature moments in zombie movies were picks or stabbings through eyeballs. He loved, eyeball gruesomeness. So he would always have a character getting their eye, having something jammed through their eye or something crazy like that. But to answer the question, Zombie was my favorite foreign zombie film of all time. Close second was Dead Alive. That was a New Zealand zombie movie. That may be the goriest zombie movie of all time. So you could, those two, just to answer that question. Jay, I don't know if you watch many of the foreign films, but if you have, man, what do you think?
Not as many as
Shaun of the Dead is a foreign zombie movie, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't have quite the repertoire as you do, so I'll trust
I don't
your
think many people have.
expertise. You're right. I'll take your word and just regurgitate the same thing. Uh, yeah.
And also remember, 28 days later, and 28 weeks later are also foreign zombie movies for people who don't remember. They were based out of London, so yeah, I got tons of them, man. I mean, the zombie genre is worldwide, so um, again, write in the comments or let me know at work or email us or go to Facebook and let us know your opinions. The we got one. I'll do one more and then we'll get to the top five. This one was a really good question. All three came from my friend Glenn. He's a really big zombie fan. Um, not as he said he's not as big as a zombie fan as me, and I understand that's gonna be hard
Not
for
many
somebody to
people
do.
are.
I
Yeah.
always wanted to meet somebody who was a bigger zombie genre fan than me. I haven't. I know they're out there. You can look on YouTube and see them. They're out there, but I want true, authentic. Somebody who's just as crazy as I am. There's not many people out there that are nuts.
The one that tattoos
So,
the match.
uh, um, favorite non-zombie or zombie-related creature movie, meaning they're not zombies technically, but they follow all the rules of flesh eaters or they're destroyed such as zombies.
Mhm.
Example, 28 days later, they were human beings with the rage virus. Quarantine, they had extreme rabies virus. The worst movie of all time, World War Z, they were just stupid. I mean, this is what he was getting at. What, zombie like enemy, what movie contained the best zombie like enemies, or what was the best zombie like enemy movie? And I go with this is going to stun people because 28 days later was so iconic. I'm going with Quarantine though, because it can actually happen. The rage virus is one thing. I think that's more science fiction. But Quarantine, it talked about a rabies virus, and rabies does affect the mind, sort of
Mhm.
like zombies, and it almost makes you know you know incredible super strain of rabies would give a person zombie like qualities. And just to know that these people were trapped inside of an apartment building, quarantined in an apartment building where they didn't have many weapons, and they were all just scared, and they didn't know where the disease stemmed from, and they weren't given any help or anything, and they all succumbed to this rabies, ultra rabies virus. I mean, this could really happen. A lot of people say, "Hey, crazy as hell, this shit ain't gonna happen." It can happen. You
Yeah,
don't
that's
know if it
that's
hasn't happened
possible.
before. It could. Super strains of diseases are all over the world, and you don't know what effects they have, and you don't know if a super strain of a disease was released or actually happened somewhere, and they quarantined that area and didn't tell anybody about it. You never know. But rabies in a human being, you would see the effects of rabies in a human being, just as you saw in this movie. Not to that large scale, but once it takes over the brain, you're nothing but you're nothing but just complete fury. And I gotta say, Quarantine was number one, man, by far. And then close second again is 28 days later, man. But Quarantine to me knocked them dead. You can't compare with that, man. That was awesome, and it was more modern, and it was done on like a VHS camcorder, which it was added to it. So definitely like Quarantine there, man. Um, Jay, you've watched Quarantine.
Yeah,
Um,
I,
I mean,
I did like that one. It definitely took it in a smaller approach where it's not necessarily like a global epidemic. It's stuck in this environment with these monsters, and it puts a different type of fear into
yes,
it. Um,
yes,
so I did like Quarantine, but I'm gonna have to give it to 28 Days Later.
I understand that.
I'm a little conflicted on fast zombies or fast zombie-like creatures, only because you're screwed.
Yeah,
There's just no way you can ever outlast that. But that definitely made it scary.
Yes.
being chased down. And there's some really good videography too during that, like a good set of the scenes.
Yes. 28 Days Later had probably one of the most eeriest settings. London was basically blacked out,
Yep.
and the darkness, the eeriness that they depicted in that movie was brilliant. So again, just like Jay said, he had to pick 28 Days Later. I can understand that pick. I'm just looking at it through, I've watched 28 Days Later, and then I watched Quarantine, and I've watched those movies hundreds of times. And just at the end of the day, I just think that when you have something, I kind of want it, since it's not really a zombie.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of this is weird, but I kind of went with what can actually happen.
Yeah.
And it's strange. It's strange to say that, but honestly, if I'm not gonna call them zombies, but they're zombie-like. You look at all the incidents with bath salts and stuff like that. I'm going with Quarantine, man, because it was just nonstop relentlessness, and nobody lived. Everybody died, and that's another thing.
Spoiler
I don't
alert.
I don't want a happy ending.
Yeah.
I just don't.
Yeah, there are cases. I haven't had anything recently, but a few years ago of just people. I think down in Florida, this guy just got so high he started like chewing up
Eating
somebody.
people's faces. Yeah, man.
And
You
they put
don't
a couple
know.
rounds in him, and he just kept coming, so they had to just
Kept coming.
unload.
You got things like PCP and all sorts of other super drugs that make people crazy. And, it's just incredible. And they even try to tie, Walter White's blue meth as a reason for the zombie apocalypse in Walking Dead, because drugs have such a transformative state, to the user. So, but anyways, thank you so much, Glenn, for the questions. I talked to you about it. I told you I wasn't gonna share until we got on the show. So it forces you to watch.
Do you think the creatures from I Am Legend is just a little bit outside of that scope?
I Am Legends aren't zombies.
Yeah.
They're human beings with a viral disease, which affected their skin, and it basically turned them into humanoid creatures. But as you saw at the end of I Am Legend, Will Smith found a cure, and it started to reverse the effects of this deadly disease. Zombies, you can't reverse the effect.
Also, I would say that their rationale is too present. They're not, just kill, basic instincts. Yeah. They're processing. They're calculating.
They were a little too smart, and I do give them credit, because I Am Legend was, what. If World War Z would have made a movie, they should have stemmed it like I Am Legend and not made it stupid.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah, we will. I don't even want to really talk about it until we do get there, because it's just irritating.
Yeah, I will say, if you see I Am Legend, watch the alternate ending. I think that is much better, fitting to the title. I think fitting to the overall message the movie was trying to get across anyway.
Yes. All right, man. So let's start with our top 5 favorite zombie movies of all time.
Yes.
And since I did the questions, I'm going to let my buddy Jay start off with we're going to go 5-1. So, Jay, what was number 5 on your list?
I'm going to go with the original, The Night of the Living Dead. And how can you not appreciate? I mean, watching it now, it's obviously dated. The effects are, today's standards cheesy, but I mean, they're working with what the first time through. They
did pretty damn good, man. Yeah. I got to give for 1968.
Yeah, this is an old movie. I mean, next year it'll be 50 years old.
Yes.
Jeez.
Wow.
How about that?
Holy shit.
Not to make ourselves feel old, yeah, right? But it launched something, crazy, and to think that it's come this far is a little out of this world. But yeah, you gotta go with the classic,
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And we're looking at, we decided. I know my top 5 list is flesh-eating zombies. So I'm not going by somebody brought up a great point, like the Reanimator, White Zombie, White Zombie was mind control. Surfing in the Rainbow was brought up. That's mind control zombie. That's voodoo zombies. We're talking about flesh eating zombies. It's related to The Walking Dead. The king of zombie movies, George Romero, he created the flesh eating zombie. This means that once the living person died, for any reason in his movies, they would reanimate into a flesh eating ghoul, and they would just seek out human flesh, and the only way to destroy them was to destroy the brain. That's iconic. That's what we're talking about here. Is iconic, zombies. That's my list. Jay might have a couple on his list that don't follow that completely, or he might not. We got to go 5-1 just to find out. But my list,
yeah, just because it has reanimated body, I mean, we could throw a Weekend at Bernie's in there if we're gonna go that
yes.
route. They have to have that mindless
Yes.
sense for flesh. They have to not be controlled by anything else, just their own basic instinct to kill and eat.
So Jay started off with the original, and again, that was, I thought long and hard about adding that to my list, but I'm gonna go with the remake of the original. Now, Dwayne Jones, that's obviously Robert Kirkman named his character Dwayne, Morgan's son, Morgan Jones, Dwayne Jones. He named Dwayne Jones after Dwayne Jones from the original Night of the Living Dead. I was always a big fan of Tom Savini. He's the makeup artist in all of George Romero's films. And when Tom Savini, made the Night of the Living Dead 89 remake, that was something I saw in a movie theater with my dad. So it was like to go and watch, Night of the Living Dead remade, more modernized a little bit. Just knowing that Tom Savini was behind it. One of my favorite actors, Tony Todd, who reminds everybody of Dwayne Jones, Patricia Tillman. It just was a great, modern remake of a classic. And as much as I love Night of the Living Dead 1968, I had to put the 90 version or the 89 version above it in my mind. Just nostalgia, just knowing I was able to see this. This was my first zombie movie I'd ever seen in the theater. Yeah. I wasn't even a thought in 1968. I wasn't a thought in 1979. When Day of the Dead came out in 1985, I was only 3 years old. But to actually go with my dad when I was 6, he had to, bring me in the movie theater. He had to, back in the day, nobody cared. People didn't question too many things. Now, why are you bringing this 6-year-old to see a zombie movie? Just remember that was my first ever zombie movie on the big screen, and it didn't disappoint me, man. And it stayed with me, and it did everything that the original did, and they just did more. And I thought it was just a great, they paid homage to the original, but they gave it that modern kick back in the day, and the music, everything about it, it just made you scared in a way, and I loved it. And as much as the black and white original was eerie, I think the 1990 version, or 1990 when it was released on VHS, it just stuck with me a little bit more. So that was my pick. So we both have Night of the Living Dead as our 5, so that's good.
Yep.
Okay, top 4, Jay. Number 4.
So, continuing on with the trend of remakes, I'm going to go with Dawn of the Dead, the remake one.
Okay.
And this is one of the more newer ones with a high production quality, and definitely with the fast zombies. I just remember the opening intro, and one thing I always love about these movies is it shows you when the shit initially hits the fan.
Yes.
How people react. What would you do in those situations? So it was just crazy to see just everything crumble and such a fast pace. I mean, just because maybe because the zombies are so fast in this one, And then some iconic scenes of them like going to the mall uh, or stuff like that. It was definitely scary. I think pretty well done for movies in general. But definitely a little frightening with the fast zombies and good job on the on the visual effects and the goriness of it and everything.
Yep. Um, I totally agree. And here goes another treat for the dedicated fans. As you see here, these are Dawn of the Dead remake movie tickets here. Okay, they're old as shit. Okay, I saw this movie 8 times in the theater. Okay, these are just two of the ones I have left over. Okay, I I mean, again, this was nostalgia for me because this was the Dawn of the Dead of our era. Um, you still there, Jay?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, it got low on my end. This was the Dawn of the Dead of our era, and it was a new, it was a new, a new zombie, but it wasn't number 4 on my list. Number 4 on my list, was Shaun of the Dead. It's crazy how Shaun of the Dead can break a top 5 list with George Romero. But that's how well that movie was made. Shaun of the Dead might have been, other than George Romero, that might have been the greatest flesh-eating zombie movie ever made. If George Romero, if he didn't make any movies, and that would have been it. That would have been this is the most complete zombie movie probably of all time, other than George Romero's movies. And I would rate it higher, but I think my top 3, that you're going, they have to be good in my mind to top Shaun of the Dead, and to me they are. But Simon Pegg, and I just loved it, man. It was everything that you wanted in a zombie movie, and then a funny, British twist. So you can't beat it. And Shaun of the Dead makes number 4 for my list. And now we're gonna get to the top 3.
Get in there. This is like the top 1% of zombie movies you've seen. So.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's the truth.
That's just crazy. Which is crazy to me. It's just probably I'm never close to 100. Probably closer to like 30 or something like that. So
like a normal person.
Yeah, right. Yeah, my sample size is much smaller.
Not an insane person like myself.
So the next one, I'm going back to the old school. Stick with the Dawn of the Dead, though. I'm going with the original one back in 1978. Okay. I think what he did with Night of the Living Dead, Romero just, improved on every aspect.
Yep.
And it shows just with the higher quality too. A little probably bigger budget, I'm assuming, showing that hey, this can be successful. And just a class. I just remember seeing these on VHS and like the movie or in the rental movie places we used to go and renting it every once in a while.
Yep, I did. Hey man, that's I couldn't say it better. I remember watching that. I remember my dad bringing home the trilogy, and then I remember watching. I think we talked about it. It's on one of our shows. Gilbert Gottfried's Up All Night, and he was
yes.
He had like a barbecue setting, and it was all zombies around him. And he was like irritating the zombies, but they showed the trilogy: Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, and Day of the Dead, and we actually taped over stuff. Like my dad used to make zombie mixed VHS tapes, and I remember we had those 3 on one, and then we had Dawn of the Dead again, Cemetery Man, which is another zombie movie, and then the Gates of Hell, or AKA 7 Doors of Death. So my number 3, this is when it started to get hard, because I had to really explain to myself why this was number 3.
It's not like it's an insult to the movie or anything like that. I
No,
mean,
trust me. If you make a top five on any list of 175 plus anything, that's fucking good. So,
yeah.
um, but this was hard because you know I call them the three Ds. You know my top three. You know 3 Ds. So this was a hard one, and the reason why I put this one at number three and not two, I'll get into when I talk about number two. Was Day of the Dead. This could have been number two. This could have been number one. Day of the Dead was the final it was the final installment of the Night of the Living Dead trilogy, and then George Romero followed it up with three more movies that weren't as good: Land of the Dead, Diary of the Dead, and then Survival of the Dead. Day of the Dead to me was, and it basically was the end of the world, and it was a military group and a group of scientists that were holed up in a bunker, and they were responsible for trying to figure out what was this epidemic, and it just showed you what happened when you were a human being and they even said it, they might be the last people on Earth, and they even said Philip, who was electronics expert, said it. We might be the last ones on Earth. And then Dr. Logan, who was crazy, he said, we are at a lost cause. We're in the minority now. Something like 400,000 to 1, meaning 400,000 zombies to 1 human. Those numbers worldwide are staggering if you think about it. So, to hear that and then to see the conflict between humans with themselves, and then the epic, ending scene, when the zombie, when Miguel, who's been beaten, he's been bitten, and he's just done, and he just lets a horde of walkers or a horde of zombies into the complex and then down into the bunker, had one of the goriest endings in the trilogy. I loved it. And, what a way to end, on a dark end to the zombie trilogy. And it had a good ending. And, they actually escaped. And it also had a really good soundtrack to me, one of my favorite songs in zombie movie history. So, The World Inside Your Eyes. That movie, that song was epic to me. And it actually made you sad because it was the end, of this trilogy. It was the end. And that's why I always used to say to people, this is why we need to have a TV show. And people, you're crazy as hell. Stop watching this shit. Go watch something else. So it's like, so you have nostalgia where you watch the end of, at this point, a 17-year span, 68 to 85, and everything in between, and remakes and Return of the Dead and that. But the trilogy was over at this point, and it felt like, oh man, it's done. So Day of the Dead was number 3 to me, man. So all right. Here we go. This is gonna be hard as hell. Number 2.
Number 2. So for me, I could have placed this one like anywhere in the top 4 or in the in the past like 5 through 2 here. The order they're so close. It just depends on my mood. Sometimes I'm like, you know what? It's nighttime. It's throwing some lights. Let's watch a scary zombie movie. Other times it's mid-afternoon and I'm just like flicking through the channels and I see this movie on. I'm like, yeah, I'll keep it on this channel because I really like it. And that's Zombieland. Yes. I think they had a unique take on it. Definitely modern with little rules there. I like that. And I liked everybody kind of come together there. I think they lost some cred when they went to the circus. I think the characters should have known better than to turn on all the lights and sounds and everything like that. But hey, sometimes you need dumb mistakes to drive the plot a little bit. I think Woody Harrelson was made for that character. Awesome job on casting. Now, I know they tried doing like an Amazon series, and you can't do that.
No, that was terrible.
You
I
can't
didn't like it.
recast those characters. Start brand new, different characters. You can't replace the people that fit so perfectly into those roles. And of course, the greatest cameo of all time,
Bill Murray.
straight to the top, Bill Murray.
Yes.
I mean, those scenes there inside of his his mansion was hilariously funny. There it is. And once again, I just showed you from the beginning. The fast zombies again in this one. They're not my particularly favorite type of zombie, only because I like the zombies as a catalyst to a problem, not necessarily the major problem. Where in this one,
Right.
you're gonna get run down and you're gonna get killed.
Sure.
But still, I think it was well done. Puts a smile on my face, when I watch it. So that's why I have it. Like I said, I could go from number 2, 3, 4, 5. It all depends where a particular mood is for that night.
Correct. And another good thing about Zombieland, they never shared the names of the 4 characters: Wichita, Little Rock, Columbus, and
Yes.
Tallahassee.
Yeah.
The only character that had a name was Bill Murray. They only named their destinations where they wanted to go home, and they didn't want to learn each other's names until the end. So and they did say the name at the end. I don't want to spoil it, but she did tell Columbus her name at the end, which was a very good moment. And then they ruined it when they tried to have the Amazon series because it made no sense. There were rumors that they were going to have a Zombieland 2 where Woody Harrelson's character Tallahassee fell in love, but Woody Harrelson, they couldn't get him to come back, and then Jesse Eisenberg, he just shot up. He became such a superstar, they couldn't give him back, and then Emma Stone shot up, and she became a superstar in her own way. Another tidbit: Little Rock's character played in Arnold Schwarzenegger's movie Maggie, and she's all grown up there, and that's another zombie movie where Maggie was about a father whose daughter got bitten, and he had to watch her die. So
I've heard good reviews of that. Actually, I haven't got a chance.
That
to
was
watch
actually
it,
a decent movie.
Yeah.
You should check it out if you ever. I mean, that was a decent movie. It's not on a top 5 list,
Yeah.
but it definitely was decent. And I like those movies because it's it just shows you what you're dealing with families, and then just shows you that a lot of these actors and actresses that are in zombie movies are actually recycled into more zombie movies. The actress in Quarantine 2, the flight attendant in Quarantine 2, is actually a character in Fear the Walking Dead. She's a main character. She's the daughter of, I can't even think of her name. She's Lucera or whatever her name is. She's the daughter. Her father died. I can't think. That's how forgettable these characters were in fucking Fear the Walking Dead. But anyways, they're recycled. Very good pick for Jay. Jay's top list looks to be more modern, which is totally understandable, and that gives you the different perspective. Where you have this classic zombie insane fan, and then you have the more modern, fan that is looking at, what, he sees modernly. Obviously you can't. It's going to be hard to replicate a collection like mine, but he has knowledge of zombie movies and he knows what he likes. So it's always subjective, and it's always good to hear, people's top 5 lists of anything. So and I gotta agree, you can add Zombieland, Shaun of the Dead, Dawn of the Dead remake, and the Night of the Living Dead. They could be one on any list, to be honest with you, because they're great movies. Mm-hmm. And to be honest, those 4 movies are all in my top 10. So
but no wild cards. We're not scraping the bottom of the barrel here.
All right. So this was another question, and Jay, you could chime in too if you want. Not honorable mentions. We already did the favorite zombies and foreign zombie movies. Honorable mentions for me, we named 2 of them were Quarantine and Zombie. I also, they wanted me to give a B-rated one, so I'm looking over here now because I have plenty. The B-rated films are hard, but the one B-rated film that I like the best, I'm looking at it now. Again, you know, I got to go with all the Resident Evil, the whole series, because I just like it as a whole. It's a continuation of one story. And as I said before, I don't like when these movies end. I kind of like when they stretch out as long as possible. So I like Resident Evil. All those movies were good, and it was a great video game. B-rated zombie movie. You had movies like Colin, which was about a guy who turned into a zombie, and it showed you a movie through the zombie's eyes. That was unique. Wasn't a great movie, but it was just unique. But my favorite B-rated zombie movie, probably of all time, was Flesh Eater, and that was with I'll show you the thing. You'll notice the guy, Bill Heisman. Bill Heisman was the first zombie in Night of the Living Dead. He's the one that chased Barbara through the cemetery. He got a lot of shit for this movie because it was so close. His character was so close to the zombie that was in Night of the Living Dead that even George Romero and Greg Nicotero said, "Hey man, what the hell are you doing?"
Yeah, it's like it's borderline infringement over here.
It is, but he got away with it. Another honorable mention, you had snakes on a plane, you had zombies on a plane. So, Flight of the Living Dead. That's another, because it's unique. And then Japanese Junk, very good. And these are just tons and tons of B-rated movies I have. But anyways, now
I don't know where you pull these from, man.
Oh man, just reach over. I got one called Meat Market. Another one from England.
Some like college students' final project you got over there.
This one was pretty good, man, because it's called Let Sleeping Corpses Lie. These zombies, if you look on the back, they were really eerie, and the director, he actually has the same ideology as me. Everybody should die in these films. He even says it. He tells you, I want you to be scared. I want you to be bothered. I want you to hate this film because I don't want it to be a good film. I want it to be scary. That's a horror movie. Mm-hmm. The purpose of this movie, these zombies were because of pollution, not pollution, but they wanted to mass produce crops, and what they did was they made this this sonic wave of low level radiation that killed bugs that were eating crops, but also helped the soil and the grass grow. And what the radiation did was it only affected low mental levels, so like bugs, mice, but they didn't take into account that it would also affect the recently dead. So these zombies were like super zombies. They had superhuman strength, and they had a unique thing that they used to take the blood of themselves and put it over the eyes of other dead things, and the freaking dead things would turn into these superhuman zombies. You couldn't shoot them in the head. You couldn't do anything. The only way to kill them was to burn them. And it was a great movie. It was about a guy from London going out into the country, and this like really dickhead cop thinking he was responsible for the murders of all these people, and it was really the zombies. And it was excellent. Just so many movies. I can go all day. We have Zombieland, we have Zombie, and we'll get back to the show. Zombieland, Zombie, we got a zombie cartoon.
Well, if you ever need to rent a zombie movie, you can find James.
City of Rock, City of Living Dead, Burial Ground, Spanish zombie movie. It's incredible. But okay, back to the list. Number 2. Um, number 2, Jay. What's your
Here we
number
go.
2? And I also have these things in alphabetical order to show you how crazy I am. So
A lot of Z's. Surprisingly, there's a lot of Z's in this list.
yes, there's.
Yeah, so mine was my number 2 was Zombieland. So
Okay.
it's on you now. What's your number, Deuce?
Yeah, I was trying to put it back on you. All right. So my number 2 was on Jay's top 5 list. I think it was number 4. Dawn of the Dead remake.
Yeah.
It again. I showed you the movie tickets. It was my Dawn of the Dead.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where my dad saw Dawn of the Dead in the movie theaters, I saw it in the movie theaters. It was, 28 days later, that movie was about zombie-like creatures that were running. So it was a unique twist, but they weren't zombies. It felt like there were these new enemies, these new creatures, and I couldn't call them zombies. I just couldn't find myself saying that they were zombies.
Yeah.
But then when they came out with Dawn of the Dead, and it had stars like Vin Rames, and they had Mekhi Phifer in it. They had the guy from Modern Family in there. They just had Sarah Polley was in it, Jake Weber, Tyler Bates. I mean, just it was incredible, and just the fact that these zombies ran, and it was a more realistic virus. It was like a virus that spread so fast, and it just showed the world collapsing so quickly. And it was just such a unique twist to a genre that it wasn't stagnant, but it just injected more into this genre of zombie movies. And for them to be so fast, and for it to be such a great remake and have such star power and be set in a dark atmosphere and have them all and had human conflict and have a zombie baby, so it was like, it was incredible.
They got a little crazy there.
Yeah, they did. And I pick it because it was the first fast zombie movie that I liked. And it was like, there was no escaping. It was such, like Jay said, there was no hope. And my rule of any horror movie is nobody should live. Mm-hmm. This followed that rule, because how can you outrun something? They're relentless, and just the tension and on the edge of your seat, and the fact, again, just the unique twist, the gore, everything. I thought that this was great, and to remake a classic and to make it the way it was, it is number 2 all time. I've watched Dawn of the Dead remake second most. I won't give away my number 1 to the number 1 zombie movie I've watched all time. So it's number 2 for me. Again, I saw it more times in the theater than I've seen any movie. I was obsessed. I loved it. Here's another interesting fact about my crazy ass. I actually did a review on the movie on a radio station in Connecticut. So it was incredible. A friend of mine knew I like zombie movies and knew I saw the movie so much, and he was a DJ at night, and he had me review the movie, and that stuck with me too. So
I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, man, that was a little tidbit for you. You didn't know about that. A lot of people didn't. I said I would surprise somebody with that, and it was late night, and I did a review, and it was awesome. I got good feedback for it. So Dawn of the Dead remake is my number 2 of all time.
Now there's another little tidbit too. You actually saw them all, right? Tell us about that story.
I saw them all, and what do you mean?
When you're driving back from Philadelphia and you're too sick.
We're gonna get into that soon.
We'll pick up that story a little bit.
All right.
Before we jump into our number 1s, some comments from the chat room over here. They're saying that quarantine definitely is friggin' terrifying, and
yes.
that shit could really happen.
Yes, definitely.
Speaking of 20 days later, if that's how it worked in The Walking Dead, everybody would be a zombie.
Yep.
Like with a blood drop in the eyeball scene.
They'd be dead. Everybody who's a character now would be a zombie right now.
Yeah, which I'm still not sure about the rules there, because if you get a scratch from a zombie on The Walking Dead, you turn. But if you punch a zombie in the skull a few times and crack your skin open on your knuckles, you don't. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, if that was 20 days later, I mean, with that and fast zombies.
Yeah, it's too much. It's too much to overcome.
It's over.
You know. And there was no hope. There was no turning the disease around, and it was epic because it just showed you that the human body cannot go without food for 28 days. And people watched that movie, they understood that. All you had to do was wait it out, but that's easier said than done when things are spitting in your face, and they're running after you, and then they're running after you and spitting in your face, and they're trying to eat you and they're biting you and shit. If you could survive that for 28 days while finding food and staying out of, then good for you.
Yeah, because you have to survive the 20 days too. You can't just, what do I got in the cupboard over here? I got some crackers and, one soup. Nah, you're not going to make it, man,
Creme de menthe was creme de menthe was the drink that the father and the daughter had for the two main characters when they came to visit. And they couldn't get water because it didn't rain. It was great, but it just, like Jay said, if this was going by zombie movie rules, these people, Rick would be dead, Michonne would be dead, they all would be dead. Forget it.
Yeah, there's no surviving that.
No.
It's just a matter of time. All right, here we go. Numero uno over here. You ready?
I'm ready for you, Jay.
So we brought this movie up a couple of times, and it's in the same vein as Zombieland, but it's gotta be my favorite. I bought it. I watch it whenever it's on. I'll throw it on Netflix sometimes if I just want to have something on, and that is Shaun of the Dead. I think Simon Pegg and Nick Frost did an amazing job. They have a few movies out together.
Yes, they do. Hot Fuzz and End of the World.
And so Nick Frost is actually on an AMC show.
Yes, he is.
Yep. So check him out there. And Simon Pegg is obviously busy too. He's doing the Star Trek movies. He actually wrote and directed the last one, I believe. Mm-hmm. So I thought it was amazing. Just the right amount of humor. I can't really find many flaws with it. Friendship, at the ending there where they're teaching the zombies how to do stuff. It's just a little funny, And you see that a few times as well in some other zombie movies where the zombies start to get some sense back.
Day of the Dead. Yep. Bub.
Yep.
It's classic. Yep. He was the first one. Yep.
So that might be just a shout out to that as well. Zombies were dangerous. They're the slow type. So same thing. Was more the story between the characters and then the drama between there. Definitely some gruesome scenes, like the one guy getting pulled through the window and getting his guts torn out. That was I felt that was a callback to some of the old school zombie movies there.
And all the zombie bites were really well done too, man. Yeah.
It was changing, with the stepdad and the mom.
Yep.
I just really liked that movie.
Can't go wrong with it, man. Like I said, it's subjective. But Shaun of the Dead was number 4 on my list, number 1 on Jay's. Dawn of the Dead remake was number 4 on Jay's list, number 2 on mine. But to me, they're interchangeable. You're talking about, in my mind, in my opinion, you're talking about we just gave you. I haven't, and I honestly thought maybe Jay would have one that was outside of my top 10. He had. He had every movie of his was in my top 10, and again, I'm putting myself on the enchilada because this is my obsession. I'm a crazy nutcase. So when you can have all your top 10 or your top 5 within my top 10 of this obsession, that's pretty damn good. So
Yeah, and I think this, like I mentioned before, you could change these numbers around, and I'm like, that makes sense. Drop this one down, bring that one up. All depends on the day or the mood or what I feel like watching that day. But
Tidbits about Shaun of the Dead. In the beginning of the movie, when they're showing London and they're showing society, those people in the beginning of the movie actually were zombies later on in the movie. You have to watch it close. Even the worker, the dickhead teenage worker that worked with Sean, he became a zombie in the end of the movie. There was a chubby black guy in the beginning of the movie standing in the grocery line. He became a zombie during the movie. It was so complete. Like I said, outside of George Romero's trilogy, this was probably the most complete zombie movie. And honestly, I could have put this as my number 2, but again, there's reasons why I put Dawn of the Dead remake as number 2 and Day of the Dead as number 3. It just, to me, to get into the top 3 for me, it had to be a Romero film or a remake of it. And it's just strange to say that, but it has to be something unique about the remake. And what more unique than Fast Zombies? But Shaun of the Dead can easily be number 1. Easily. It's the number 1 zombie of all time, and the number 1 foreign might be the number 1 foreign zombie movie over Zombie. So that was a great pick for number 1. This number 1 was the easiest of my picks. So we can get into this. This was a birthday gift from a friend of mine that passed away. But George Romero's Dawn of the Dead was, and this is the collector's edition. This was one of the greatest horror movies of all time in my book. But to me, it was the greatest zombie movie ever made, hands down. You can't even compare it to it. It was the sequel to one of the greatest zombie movies ever, and to continue it and to show you how shit hit the fan 2 weeks into this thing. To have 4 incredible characters, Ken Foree, Scott Ellinger, and just tons and tons of just greatness. I mean, just look at this shit. This is awesome. I mean, this is just the collector's edition. But to have a zombie movie, it had all the elements. It had action, it had adventure. You had 4 survivors, all different. You had 2 military guys. You had a weatherman, and you had a weatherman's girlfriend who was pregnant. Every zombie movie has based themselves upon this movie. You have the pregnancy. You have, the black guy in the movie that you always have to have. You have the military that you always have to have. You have the zombies that you always have to have. You have the conflict that you always had to have. You had gore that you always had to have. They went into a mall, and it started in the projects, and it showed you the deterioration of society. And George Romero was big on showing you how society is the downfall of humanity. So he showed you the racist military guy in the beginning, and then he showed you how the black military guy killed that racist guy who was just shooting random project teenagers. He showed you the chaos in the weather in the news station. He showed you these characters having to break into a mall, having to take over the mall, basically having to clean the mall out. He showed you that nobody's safe. One of the main characters, Roger, he got bit on a supply run because he got too cocky. He showed you how they lived in the mall and they were unscathed, but it became like a prison to them. It became like, wow, we have everything we need to survive, but we don't. And as you watch the main character, Francine, the female character, she was playing den mother, and she's getting bigger and bigger because she's pregnant, and she's worrying about her child, and you're starting to look and say, how are these guys going to live like this? And she didn't want to marry Steven, who was her boyfriend, because it wasn't real, and Peter, who was this militant military guy, and he was just trying to survive. And when everything seemed to be, stoic and they were kind of getting sick of life, a raider gang came and let all these zombies in just so they can pillage the mall. They can come in and just, take supplies because they're surviving on the road. And you had the conflict between Steve and Peter and Francine against this motorcycle gang. And then and it based everything upon memory. So, when Steven died, he remembered, something in his mind remembered that they built a secret wall and he led the herd up. And it was awesome. It was the greatest, most complete zombie movie you can ever watch. And it stuck with you. And that was my dad's favorite zombie movie. Mm-hmm. And my, second favorite was the remake. But I watched this movie. I watched the remake. I don't know, easily thousands of times. I wish I made that up. I watched
days spent. Yeah.
I watched that movie. I mean, that's the remake. Mm-hmm. I watched the original 3 times as much. And there's different versions. There's the European version. There's the extended mall version. There's the original version. There's a version you can read that they changed the ending and they changed it. I mean, it just, to me, it is what The Walking Dead is based upon. Mm-hmm. Not Night of the Living Dead. The Walking Dead is based upon Dawn of the Dead. Shaun of the Dead is based upon Dawn of the Dead. Shaun of the Dead, Dawn of the Dead. This is the center. This is the beginning to me. I know Night of the Living Dead was the first, but this is the one that stuck with you. And it's hard for me to ever think anything would be better than it. And I might watch it tonight. They have it on YouTube, so I listen to it at work when I'm working. I could listen to it and I know all the words, because I watched it millions of times. But it's incredible to watch The Walking Dead and to see the similarities and to know Greg Nicotero, who was a makeup artist in Dawn of the Dead, is still doing it in Walking Dead.
Yeah.
And Tom Savini, my favorite makeup artist, is another favorite makeup artist of mine. Brilliant. I mean, the zombies were blue in the face. They were like bluish gray, but they were scary. Like Jay said, they were shambling and they were scary. And the humans, just like The Walking Dead, when they started to feel safe from the zombies, they forgot that the zombies were a threat, and the zombies took over anyways. The point is, when you have a zombie movie or a zombie show, the zombies are, humans are a threat, but the zombies are the constant. And you can't neglect that. You can't stir away from that. You can't say, oh, today, we won a battle and we're safe. You're never safe. And it showed at the end.
I think that's what Ramiro wanted to get across is the society, and studying society in this broken down world. Yeah, yes. Like how these people interact. And the zombies are there, but they're not, like some of the other ones that focus on just, the zombie danger, where it's always going to be there as a constant, just like an equation. But what's the random, what's going to change? And that's going to be how people start interacting. Just, you're closed into this mall for, how many days they're going to start despising people just from being around them for so much. You feel claustrophobic, and then all of a sudden you have these outside people who want your stuff, and that's another society, battling against each other. Where are these rules? I thought we had rules, but there aren't no rules, in the apocalypse. No rules.
Not. And the zombies represent no rules in the apocalypse. Mm-hmm. Because a zombie, when you're watching The Walking Dead and you're watching these zombie movies, and we really hope you enjoy The Walking Dead and you enjoy zombie movies, please don't watch the show just to pick it apart.
Yeah, that's not fun.
Yeah, it just is worse than me being obsessed with zombies, is to be obsessed with picking something apart. I know you need both spectrums of it, but a zombie in itself is a virus. It's a shell. The outer shell contains the virus. And the whole point of a zombie, they have no point. And Peter, or Ken Voorhees, said it best. They don't think. That's that's the advantage they have over us.
Mm-hmm.
They don't think. And when you start to think or you forget to think, that's when you die. That's when they bite you in your ass.
Like
because their whole thing is to spread the virus.
Yeah.
You could kill 10 of them. They're just going to keep coming and keep coming. The numbers are staggering and they keep coming and coming. When you think you're safe, there's a million more waiting for you. You know, and famous quotes and all they're coming to get you, Barbara, Night of the Living Dead. Mm-hmm. When there's no room in hell, the dead will walk the earth. Dawn of the Dead. You got big time quotes from Day of the Dead, where he said to Sarah, John said to Sarah, a Jamaican guy said to her, you know, this is a punishment from the Creator. He put a curse upon us because we were getting too big for our britches. Meaning, you know, he didn't want us, and he even said it. Maybe he didn't want to see us blow ourselves up and put a hole in the sky. You know, he was just trying to explain that this was something different, and that's what zombies were, and that's what they are. Even in The Walking Dead, there's something different. They're a continuum. They do not stop. They keep coming.
Yeah.
There's no end to.
Yeah.
And knowing that Romero zombies are like Kirkman zombies, where anybody who dies and does not have their brain destroyed, they're going to turn into this virus and spread the virus, and just the numbers are just massive, and there's no end to them, and even the toughest of soldiers and armies can't defeat them, you know. So and that's why I love Dawn of the Dead, because when they cleared out that mall and they thought they were in a utopia, you know, they started to crumble within. And then the raiders, like Jay said, the random came in. That random act of craziness, you know, allowed the zombies to retake the mall, and there was nothing they could do about it. They had to escape. And Kirkman does that with the governor, you know, driving through the fences. You know, he pays homage to it, man, and that's why I think Dawn of the Dead is unmatched. But you know, like Jay said, you can interchange them. Mm-hmm. This was a lot of fun, as you could tell. I mean, this was a lot of fun.
Yeah, going into this, I was like, oh man, I don't know how we're going to talk for so long, and then now it's looking at the clock. It's been going on an hour and a half. Obviously,
yeah, man. It's amazing.
Yeah, we're very passionate. James, you know, exponentially more so.
Yeah.
These, but I got a question for you.
Go ahead.
What would you like to see like in a new zombie movie?
Well,
what do you think is missing?
I want to see the evolution of zombies in the new zombie movie. So I want to see. Okay, so for instance, you know, I think The Walking Dead got it right, and then they kind of dropped it. I want to see them either evolve into something or deteriorate into, you know, the shambling zombie. So I want to see them keep their attributes as close to human as possible when they first die. So I want them to be able to have, you know, their memory still there, some sort of memory, some sort of use, you know, of their, their motor functions and their motor skills. And then I want to see that deteriorate, and I want to see them go from, like, you know, a legitimate threat to, you know, the slow shambling zombies. But also, when you lose the physical attributes of a zombie, I want to see them gain something else, you know, maybe evolve into more dangerous predators. Again, that would have to be in a TV show, but I guess what I want to see in a newer zombie movie is I want to see them actually remake Day of the Dead the right way. Here goes the Day of the Dead remake with Nick Cannon and Vin Rames, and it wasn't good. It was okay, but the zombies were super zombies. They were a little too much, and the storyline was kind of stupid. I want to see them remake the original Day of the Dead, and I want to see them stick as close to the original as possible. And I also want to see them give you the alternate version of Day of the Dead. You could read it as a transcript out there. And I want to see the alternate version of Dawn of the Dead. You know, but obviously these actors are like 70 years old. They can't do it.
Yeah, recast them, I guess.
But definitely, I want to see sequels to a lot of these great movies. I would love to see a sequel to Zombieland. I would love to see a sequel to Shaun of the Dead. I would love to see a sequel to a remake of Day of the Dead. So I guess in a more, I honestly think that I just want to see a modernized classic. What I expect in a newer zombie movie, I think it should be as close to what we saw in Quarantine as possible. And I think they should mix that in with the Walking Dead universe. So I think if you can scare people with, not superhumanly fast zombies, but, zombies that are a threat and scary. I think that's what I want to see.
If you go back to the original episodes of The Walking Dead, you had zombies that are climbing ladders, jumping over fences.
And I think that was done, and I think that they dropped that. But I want to see a darker zombie movie where power is out, people are scavenging in the dark. You never know what's coming around. I want to see people trapped. I want to see what they do when they're trapped. I want to see people really scavenging. I don't want to see everybody with an AK-47. I want to see people using, manufacturing their own weapons, because that's what really would happen. You're not going to just find a gun in an office.
Yeah.
What if a zombie apocalypse happened and you're at work? Well, how are you going to handle? Does somebody have a gun in the office? No.
Yeah, and you're like an hour away from home, and you have to jump on the freeway, which is now blocked.
Exactly. I want to see more realistic, events when the zombie apocalypse first happens. So that's a good question, Jay.
Thanks, man.
That's a really good. But yeah, I would like to see it. Like I said, it was fun. It was a lot of fun to do.
One of the chat members when you mentioned the evolution, kind of like the spore or fungus people from The Last of Us, where they can evolve and progressively get harder and more difficult. Less human, but
perfect example. And there's a Japanese movie. Here go. I'm gonna pull out another one. People.
I guess they are making a Last of Us movie, which I would love to see.
Yeah, it's called Stacy. Mm-hmm. All right, so it's about every zombie, every girl once they reach 16 years old, they turn into these zombie girls, and they're flesh eaters. So in order to stop this, they trained the zombie. Like, people started falling in love. They just said, in order to continue humanity, we have to create a new, we have to evolve into a new, creature. So people actually fell in love with these Stacy zombie girls, and they produced, half zombie, half humans. But what they explained was, this is at the end of the movie, but what they said was this extended life, because now the zombie humanoid thing had a longer lifespan. They weren't susceptible to many of the diseases that a human being would get, and they were able to evolve into the next, they took mankind to the next level. They evolved it to the next level. So, that was unique. It's so much, man. I mean, this genre is endless.
And it's tough. Like, what I like about series is you can discover, explore, like the length of, the movie, enough time to go through the beginning, and then the drought or, lack of food, and then somehow come to a conclusion where it's just too much going on. I wouldn't mind seeing like a zombie movie kind of like The Road, which is incredibly depressing, but it's an apocalypse movie, and I think it shows it in a horrible. And they actually toned it down from the book. The book was even more graphic with, the raiders out there eating babies on a, on a stick. It's pretty gross. But take that kind of tone. It probably wouldn't do well in the movies because people like the zombies more than they would The Road. I mean, they could probably just look at ticket sales. But I would love to see kind of that emotional toll on the viewer.
Yeah, and what Jay, I'm gonna let you know what Jay did here. Okay, you think Jay? All right, so at least he warned me, but So he goes, he goes, "Hey, have you ever seen this movie, The Road?" And this is not a zombie movie. And, I'm tough as nails. I don't, I'm just that's just me.
Yeah.
And you could tell by me liking, zombie movies and horror movies, and it doesn't faze me. It's just nuts. Screws are loose up here. But Jace goes, this movie is intense. Yeah, it's a tearjerker. And blah 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 blah. He's building this movie up to be like this. It's just gut wrenching, and you watch it and you're just depressed for like 6 weeks. So I watched the movie and I'm like, what the fuck is this? This is crazy. Like, it was just the most depressing shit I've ever seen. And it was just like, what? Seriously, Jay?
Hey, I warned you, man.
Yeah, he warned me, and I'm stupid. And I went and watched it. And I'm like, this is crazy. God damn, what the hell? And I mean, if a zombie movie was that depressing, I would actually like that, because again, it goes back to what I was saying, and people could say, oh, you're nuts for thinking that, but when you watch a romance or a rom-com,
Mm-hmm.
You want the people to fall in love. When you watch a comedy, I hope when you watch a comedy you laugh. If you watch a comedy and you cry or you think it sucks, it didn't do its job.
Yeah.
When you watch an action movie or Rambo, you want the good guy to shoot all the bad guys and to save the girl or to save the country or to save something. But when you watch a horror film, it's scary. It's the dark side of movies. You want the dark. You want that darkness. You want to see horror. You want to be scared. You want to have those emotions of being scared, of being uncomfortable. And I think that if they made a zombie movie and it was like The Road, there's no way you cannot be uncomfortable watching that. It has to be the most extreme uncomfortable feeling you can ever have, because that's what The Road was. It was just like, what the hell? I mean, this is crazy. There's no hope for these guys.
Because that's the truth.
That's what happened.
You watch you watch so many there's food everywhere. Like you said, there's guns everywhere. We're golden.
That's not how it is.
No.
These people were excited to find a Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
And the son was born when the apocalypse happened, and he didn't know what Coca-Cola was. That's realistic.
Yeah.
So I totally agree with that.
And
man,
who was the actor? I can't think of his name right now. He was in Lord of the Rings. Viggo Mortensen?
yes.
I want to say that's his name.
Let me just
triple confirm.
You got it. You got
Yeah.
it. Put it in the road. You got it.
He lost weight for this role, and he put forth so much emotion. I just feel like his soul was just wrecked. I mean, mine got a little wrecked just watching it. It is. I mean, I can't even explain it.
It's the end of the world,
Yeah.
and it
It's
shows
depressing.
it's not. Again, you don't want to watch an end of the world movie, and people fall in love, and then the sun shines again.
Mm.
That's not how this movie was. There's no hope for these people.
Yeah.
And it's not only no hope for these people, but it literally showed you the journey of a father and a son, and showed you the end of the journey for the father, and the possible either start of the journey for his son or the end of his life. You didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
You thought it might be a good ending, but as Jay said, in the book they had people eating babies, and they had marauders and raiders who were raping and killing people. Maybe the son found a good couple at the end. You don't know. We really don't know. It's again, the ending is subjective. You have to. It's almost like you have to, if you believe in good things in a world of bad, which they were in, you're in the wrong world. The whole goddamn movie was terrible. Not terrible as in terrible as a movie. It was a movie about the end of the world.
Yeah, and it never got good. It never got
There's
better.
nothing good that could come out of it.
Like one of the reviews, it's like, I expected there to be some sort of happiness to this.
No.
Yeah, it's like you can't, man. This is dreadful. There's no sun. There's no food growing. It's and that's what it kind of be like with the zombie apocalypse, where it's like, like 3 years down the road, you're probably out of all ammunition. The canned food must be spoiling by this point.
Yeah.
you're scrounging. Like, how hungry and how like dehydrated are you?
And remember, if you get cut and get sepsis, like the dad got cut, he got injured.
Yeah.
So when he got injured, he couldn't overcome the infection. So it was like you have to ask yourself. And then if you're a realistic person, when this child found these people at the end of the movie, did they really bring him in to have to ration their food with a child? Or maybe they brought him in to kill him and eat him, or maybe they brought him in to rape him. But that's how this movie was.
Yeah. And like I said, the book is even worse.
Nice. It was terrible. It was like, this kid is gonna die. He's not gonna survive this.
If you need a good cry, go ahead and throw that movie on.
Yeah,
let's not get off subject. Maybe we'll do like another some sort of video recapping some of our apocalypse themes or or horror themes or something like that down the road for you guys.
Yeah, we will, because that we can go all day.
And it's still the same. It's very similar to the same vein as zombies. Hey, what's up?
It is, and that leads us to the finale of this show. Worst zombie movie. I'll give you two, but Jay and I'll give you one, but I'll give you two. So one of them is Abraham Lincoln versus the Zombies. Never watched that goddamn movie. I watched about 2 minutes of it and turned the shit off. It's stupid. Okay, I hate this. This goes for all the B-rated movies that they just pull out of their ass. Abraham Lincoln versus the Zombies, Nuns versus Zombies. They had one Zombies of the Living Dead. They had Ninjas versus Zombies. They gotta stop. It's almost like a 6-year-old was coloring and made some crap and just put that as the movie. It was horrible. I mean, all these B-rated movies, some of them are good, most are bad. So I lump the bad B-rated movies as the second worst zombie movie of all time. And that goes behind the worst zombie movie ever made in the history of mankind. I'm going to let Jay take this away.
Yes. I had such high hopes. I read the book. It was great. Yeah, I think the author wrote like Survival and Zombie Apocalypse 2. I read that too. That was awesome. I was pumped. James and I would go to a movie, like, let's get some tickets, let's go check this movie out. It's going to be awesome. It's got Brad Pitt in it. I was like, that's just great. Spending money, throwing money at this. And we get there, and it's opening, it's like, all right, and the scenes start happening. You start seeing everything freak out. I was like, oh, this is so cool. It's in a big city. It's like, it's, triple A, quality. And then all of a sudden, like, someone gets bit by a zombie, and they instantly turn. And I was like, huh, that's different. All right, let's see how this plays out. And then, like, other shit happens, and I'm just like, nope. And then, it's not that it's a bad...
Nothing from the book was in this movie either, people, to let
nothing.
You know.
And it's not that like, it was just a bad zombie movie. It's a bad movie in general. The plot, there's plot twists or, something to move the plot along. There's always some sort of catalyst that does this. And in this case, it is caused by just someone being stupid. This bottom of the barrel is stupid. A guy slips and shoots himself in the head. So now Brad Pitt's in charge. Just stupid. They go down and like, all right, we need melee weapons. So that way, if there's one zombie, we can take it out quietly. It won't cause any trouble. 5 seconds later, someone uses a gun to shoot the zombie, and all of a sudden all the other zombies come. And it's like, didn't we just cover that we're going to use melee weapons against one zombie? Just stupid. And then Brad Pitt brings along his little cell phone,
and it goes on. His wife happens to call him at this time
in the middle of a raid, and this guy is like, "Oh, forgot to put it on silent. Glad I brought this phone with me." Just stupid. And then, so he's outrunning the zombies later on, and he comes to the lab where he needs to go inside this doored area to get something. So he takes his axe, puts it down outside the door, and then steps inside, and it's like, why would you leave your weapon on the other side of the doorway? You can bring it in with you. Like, why? Because you needed a plot twist to where you can't get to it. This
movie was an entire Jossum moment. Jay's Oceanside moment. This whole movie. Go ahead, Jay. I'll let you finish.
I was just throwing my hands up like, you gotta be shitting me.
How about the ending? He injects himself with the most deadliest thing he could find that's supposed to kill him instantly, and he lives to tell the story.
Right? They didn't have like, I don't know, chicken pox or something like that in there, some poison ivy you can rub up on them, and then it turns out that they're not even zombies because they have brains, they have analytical process. They could decide by sniffing them or something like that, or just looking at them. Somehow they could understand better than we can and diagnose that they're sick and not eat them. Get the hell out of here! It was just a sham.
This is like, you know, I mean, this is like somebody took a massive dump in the toilet, right? And, you know, I don't care if you guys are grossed out. If you guys are grossed out, remember we're talking about zombies and stuff. This is my way of describing it. Somebody took a massive dump in the toilet. They left the door open and they didn't flush the toilet. And you have to follow behind this bastard who took a big dump in the toilet and didn't flush and left the door open. There's no spray left. There's nothing. The toilet is clogged. You can't shove it down. You can't do anything. You just have to leave it there and go to the store and hope you can find something to flush this shit down. That's how bad this movie. It was worse than that. It was horrible. People were booing. It was terrible. It was awful.
Yeah. The zombies are doing the like little clicky noise in their mouth or something like that. People are laughing at it.
I'm like, what the hell is going on?
And
they didn't do this in the book.
The book is awesome. Go read the book, and you're just like, this is a great story because it tells you like different places around the world and how they're handling it. Oh, and then they had the zombies climbing up the wall in Israel,
climbing up each other, jumping on a helicopter. That was just ridiculous. I was like, this is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. This is horrible. This was terrible. I watched a movie called Zombie Diaries, and I thought that was a piece of shit. This Zombie Diaries was like the original Dawn of the Dead compared to that movie. It was the worst movie I've ever seen in my life. It was so bad. It was, and to make it World War Z, and you knew the Z stood for zombie, and they said that in the movie for some reason. It just was like, man, not only did I waste my money and time, but I'd never get that back. I never can say I never saw it. I wish that I never saw it so I could say I never saw that movie.
So I wouldn't be so upset about it. I don't know, man.
It's very upsetting. I'm in a bad mood from talking about it. To be honest with you, I'm really pissed off now because I just remember being so disappointed. I remember the book. And I just remember loving the book. And then I remember watching the movie and saying, I don't know what the fuck Brad Pitt was. I don't know why he signed on for this. This is a legendary.
It was like, this is going to be awesome. And then he didn't read the script. Like, the acting was fine. You know, the quality was fine. It's just, the movie was just horrible. It's up there in one of my least favorite movies.
Ever. Yes. I've seen made-for-TV movies that were better than this movie. I have. I mean, this was bad, and anybody who liked the movie, good for you. I mean, you're a masochist.
Yeah,
you can't.
People who do it.
I don't care if you do like it. You could put in the comments, or you could say it was a great movie. I'm telling you right now, you're a masochist. You like being punished. You love it. Like, you're the type of person who will sit there and people could stab you and beat you and everything, and you would smile and ask for more, because that's what this movie was. It was like chewing on glass. It was horrible. And it's just like, I remember reading somewhere that the producer of the movie regretted making the movie. That's fucking bad.
Yeah. It was... I'm going to look into... I was actually doing some research. I was like, can we stream a movie and critique it on like Twitch and stuff like that? Unfortunately, that's against the terms of service. But there is a service, I guess, where you can... Everyone pitches in for like a ticket, and you can all watch the movie together. Maybe if we get enough subscribers to our YouTube channel, we'll eventually do that. And just treat it like a Mystery Science Theater 3000 episode.
Yeah, I might volunteer not to be on that mystery, because I don't want to watch that movie again. I have a collection of movies I've actually, like, this is another dork moment of mine where I wrote down every movie I've watched. I will not include that on my list. I will include the worst of the worst zombie movies on this list. I will not subject my list to that goddamn movie. I will not add that movie to the list. I refuse to do it.
As the chat room says, they rather watch a Lifetime movie, a Lifetime zombie movie than World War Z. I haven't seen it yet, but I'd rather watch Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies.
I've seen Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies, and that was a stupid zombie movie too, but it was 10 times better than World War Z. I saw that movie. My daughter wanted to watch Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies because she was, she wanted to be like her dad, and she wanted, I decided that she was old enough. She proved that she wasn't scared of things, and she said, "I want to watch this movie with you because it's girls that fight, and they're like ninjas." And I was like, "Okay, we'll test it out. I hope it's not too gory." That movie had no gore in it. It was just stupid, but I still told her, because she even said it was stupid. I said, "Niesia, if you ever misbehave, you ever get on my nerves to the point where you complain about life in general, and you think life is life sucks, or you're really upset at me and you think I'm mean or evil, remember I can always show you World War Z and really make you hate me, because that movie is horrible." And she didn't know what the hell I was talking about, and I told her good, because I don't care.
We just had a person in the chat room, Dirty Birdie Damon, just say that Dawn of the Dead was one of his favorite movies, and it's original remake, and he says both. Shout out, yes, they're both excellent. I don't think you're here from the beginning, but the video will be live on Twitch. Actually, we're uploading to there directly now. I think it's there for about 2 weeks, and then it should be up on YouTube tomorrow as well. If you want to check out our full video where we go over that one. Yeah, they're the original classic, the remake. Definitely took in a different direction for the not necessarily for the better. You know what I mean? It was refreshing, to see the remake as well. It wasn't just a rehash of the same thing.
Sure. But before we let you guys go, here's another one for, we're in Albany. Jay's in Albuquerque, New Mexico, but I'm still in Albany, New York. There's a lot of public health people that like the woods and camping, and we got a lot of friends that go camping. I think they're going camping in June, but this is a zombie movie where it's zombies in the forest, and it's like a logging company, and they're cutting down trees. There's a bunch of hippies in there trying to stop them from cutting down trees, and they put in some chemical to make trees grow faster so they can mass produce trees and then cut them down. And the chemical ends up somehow the guys the hippies spike a tree with a piece of metal, so when they're chainsawing the mutated tree, the chainsaw hits the spike, cuts the guy open, gets the super chemical inside the guy, he turns into a zombie. There are no guns in the woods. These people have to use axes. They're out in the rain, they're fighting zombies, they're coming from everywhere. So it's like you got zombie hippie people and zombie loggers, and it's insane. So it's a really good movie. You could check that out. If you're a public health person and you like to camp and stuff like that, you should watch that movie. Okay, I keep on adding to this shit, but I can't help it.
Yeah. And we can go down one by one if you'd like.
Yes.
James's top 175.
Oh, Jesus Christ! I don't even. Oh my God! If you went to prison before, or you like that kind of stuff, is Dead Men Walking. That's a good one.
All right, let's go ahead and stop it here before we get down that rabbit hole.
So crazy, man. You can't do it.
Yeah.
Great show, Jay. Thank you for everybody for watching. Thank you to all my friends who picked my brain and wanted to find out my list beforehand. This was a really good show. I really look forward to doing this, and thank Jay for making this fun too. So thank you, buddy, and hope you guys enjoyed, man. Hope you guys really did.
Yep. So the next episode we're going to do is actually going to be the Fear the Walking Dead dissection, where we'll talk about the first 2 seasons. I just got done with the first season. We'll get through the second one. First one's a little rough. And if you just joined us now in chat, you're Dixie Enormous. That's funny. I just said it out loud, and now I get it. And we'll be up on YouTube tomorrow morning, usually I think 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. It's also going to be up on Twitch now. Our video is going to be going up on Twitch. I think they're up there for about 2 weeks. So check us out there. We have older videos as well. Our next top 5 video, we haven't scheduled one yet. We're going to do Fear the Walking Dead as it goes through the season. Yep. But we'll put up another poll next time, and we'll see which ones you guys want to see. We have, zombie video games, zombie comics / books. We can always go top 5 horror, top 5 apocalypse.
Yep.
There's different crossover genres that we can talk about. So we'll leave it up to you guys and let you guys decide. We
are not doing top 5 zombie movies again, people. No.
Yeah. Yes, we cover this. We'll just send you to the link to our YouTube channel. If you want the link, it's YouTube to search for Echo 5 Studios. We have a website, echo5studios.com. That has a catalog of all of our older videos, some of the other stuff we cover, our board games, D&D, Walking Dead,
Beer
obviously.
Board game.
Beer and a board game. Yep, we have another one of those coming up as well. Telltale. Yeah, well, we'll go over the Telltale games if we do the top 5 ones. So make sure, the poll I usually just throw up on Facebook, but I'll include that in our Twitch, and then I'll throw it on our website as well. So follow us on basically all the social medias. We're over the place. But Twitch is more instantaneous. Twitter is more instantaneous. Twitch, usually when we go on there when we're going to go live. Facebook is going to be like your monthly schedule or stuff like that. I don't like to spam you guys. You get enough notifications on Facebook from all your family members and friends. So there's all kinds of ways. You can sign up, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and then that will give you updates as soon as we upload new videos there too. Yeah, guys, this has been fun. Thank you to everyone joining us in chat. If you joined us a little late, check us out from the beginning. Check out some of our other channels. Thank you to James and his friends there at work for the questions. Thanks, James, of course, once again for joining me. And this has been a fun episode. A little off the beaten path of The Walking Dead, but it's definitely entertaining for sure. Oh, wait. There is a story you said you're going to come back to. Something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Yeah, okay.
Can't let you off the hook.
All right, so like I said, I always try to tie zombies into my life somehow. So my wife is from the Pittsburgh area. And when I first found that out, all the zombie movies are based in Pittsburgh. George Romero's from there, and he bases all his movies from there. I mean, it's just iconic. And in the mall, in the original Dawn of the Dead, is the Monroeville Mall. So when I found out my wife was from that area and bought her prom dress from Monroeville Mall, I said, I'm going to marry her. There's no way. How can you not? This is like crazy. Yeah. And even her mom knew Chilly Billy Cardell, and he was the announcer in the original Night of the Living Dead. He was a newscast. He was the news reporter at the end talking to the sheriff, and his daughter Sarah Cardell was Sarah in Day of the Dead. So her mom even knew Chilly Billy Cardell, and that's old. That's for old people. I don't think old people are watching, but he did a lot of the horror stuff back then. Little Shop of Horrors, even though I was like comedy, all that, white zombie type stuff. So knowing that she is from that area and she bought a prom dress from Monroeville Mall, and they've gone there several hundred times and all this other bullshit. First thing I said was, shit, every time I go see her parents, I'm going to try to finagle my way to the Monroeville Mall and just go into the mall and just fall out. I don't even care. People could walk around me. I don't care. That's a dream of mine. So, we go down to Pittsburgh to go to the Steelers game. And I'm like, shit, we're going to go past the mall. You know what I'm saying? And I'm saying to, my wife, hey, she's my girlfriend at the time. I said, hey, we got to stop here. When we go to the Steelers game, We just have to stop. You just have to let me walk in the mall. You just have to let me do it. She goes, why? It's a mall. I go, it's not a mall.
It's not just a mall.
It's not a mall. You have to just let me do it. And, you know, so I stop, and I live in Albany. I stop at a pizza. I'm not even going to say the pizza restaurant's name because I probably get in trouble. Stop there, of course, and I buy a personal pizza. And I think that was the devil trying to stop me from my dream, because the fucking pizza gave me the worst case of food poisoning I've ever had in my life. So I'm throwing up all the way down to her parents' house. I'm throwing up at her parents' house. My wife makes me go to this goddamn like festival thing. I'm throwing up there. And then, you know, we have the Steelers game the next day. I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna be able to, you know, make the Steelers game, but I want to go to the mall. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't even care about anything else but the Monroeville Mall at this point. I'm a big football fan. I didn't care. I was just like, you know, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna get myself together. And you know, we're driving to Pittsburgh. I'm trying not to throw up. My silly ass falls asleep, snoring as we pass the Monroeville Mall. And we go to the Steelers game, and I'm like, you know, it was a great game. I'm saying at least I get to see the mall on the way back. It's late. We can't stop at the mall. Yeah. You know, I'm going to see it on the way back. What does my silly ass do on the way home? I fall asleep again. So it's like, how the hell is this possible? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the dumbest shit I've ever been through in my life. Like, it just ruined me. You know, it's like, you guys didn't. I was pissed that you guys didn't wake me up.
You're so close. Seriously? You're right there.
You were snoring. We tried. Seriously, you didn't stop the car and kick the shit out of me and wake me up. Like, you have to understand what this means to me.
It's like being on 1 yard line and passing it instead of running it in. You're right there.
Yeah, I know. That was the Seahawk moment for myself, Jay. Thank you. Yeah. Horrible. And it was the worst. It was just, you know, eventually we drove by to get, I've been there. You know, I haven't been in the mall, but I've seen it. You know, and it's just like, if I ever go in the mall, I know it's a modern mall. They got a lot of crime in that mall and whatever. I don't care. If I ever step foot in that mall, I'm just going to lay out. And if I don't care about anything else, I don't care if security kicks me out of the mall. I'm going to lay out in the mall right then and there. I don't care. And I'm going to have it filmed, you know. Like that.
It's worth it.
It is. You know, of course, I'll probably get sick again and not be able to see. I couldn't believe it. Like, how does this happen?
Yeah. Hey, man, sometime soon, you'll be able to walk to the mall. We'll get you there.
I'll get there one day before I die, man. I will. I will.
All right, guys, we want to make sure we get that story to you. It's definitely a fun one.
Thanks, Jay. Thanks with the road and the story. I'm depressed.
And I throw in World War Z in there too. I just bring it all the way down. But hey, guys, thanks again for watching. This has been hella fun. We'll get another one of these out there soon enough. Join us next week as we start dissecting Fear the Walking Dead, and join us the following weeks. I don't know, we're going to switch back to Mondays, or is it Better Call Saul still on? What do you think your schedule's going to be like?
We got 3 more episodes of Better Call Saul, so we'll eventually switch back to Mondays as soon as that show goes off. This is a plug for Better Call Saul. That show is incredible to me. It's just, you know, Breaking Bad. Again, I just want to reiterate for people who I talk about Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad. We're not doing a dissect Breaking Bad. Let's get our numbers up and we'll think about it. We want to do things that are organic and fun. This show is long enough. Everybody, thank you for watching. I had a lot of fun again, and we will see you next week, next Wednesday.
Yep,
Fear the Walking Dead.
Next week for Fear the Walking Dead. Like I said, watch some of our past episodes on YouTube as well. Other than that, guys, thanks again for tuning in and the questions. And we'll talk to you guys and see you guys next time.
Have a good night, everybody.